Leaden. At the edge of the known world, where the sky meets the sea, there is a garden that does not belong to men. Inside it grows the tree of golden apples. Its branches hold golden apples that grant immortality itself. Hera placed it there after her wedding, and then made sure that no one could ever reach it. Leaden, its protector, never sleeps. He coils around the base of the tree, every root, every shadow, every inch of the ground between the fruit and the world. He has no single voice with which to speak. He speaks in many, all at once, a sound that doesn't resemble anything alive. He's not guarding the apples because he wants them or anything, he's guarding them because that's what he is. When Heracles finally comes, no version of the story lingers on the fight itself, it just happens and then is over. What the myths remember is what comes afterward. The Argonauts arrive later, navigating the edge of the world, and find this dragon still coiled at the base of the tree, still twitching. A creature described as immortal, and yet clearly dead, his body refusing to accept it. The apples are all gone. The garden is silent. Leaden never moved from his post, not even in death. But not all forbidden things are guarded above ground. Some are buried. Fukanglong. The Chinese didn't record one story about Fukanglong, they recorded a principle. Beneath the earth, beneath every mountain, every field, and every city built by human hands, there are things that were never meant to be found. Jade veins threading through rock, gold pressed into seams so deeply that no tool should reach them. Treasures that predate dynasties, emperors, even the names ever given to the land. Fukanglong doesn't guard these things the way Leaden guards an apple. He's the reason they stay buried. A dragon of pure subterranean power, coiled through the roots of the world itself, its body threaded through ore and stone and ancient darkness. Where he rests, wealth accumulates around him like sediment. Every hoard beneath the earth is his. Every vein of precious metal runs along the length of him. He doesn't chase, he doesn't hunt, he just waits. And when a volcano erupts, when the earth splits open and something molten and impossible surges towards the surface, that is Fukanglong ascending, forced upward, the hidden wealth of the world, briefly, violently visible. Then it closes again. Whatever was almost reached goes back down with him. Some dragons are creatures beneath the earth, but sometimes the earth refuses to be opened at all. Grootslang. In the far north of South Africa, where the Orange River cuts through the Richtersveld, there's a cave. This goes further than any survey has ever confirmed, and locals call this the Wonder Hole. For generations, the people who knew this land passed on one instruction with absolute consistency: never go inside. The diamonds are real. That part was never a rumor. The cave holds them deep in the rock, catching light that has no business being that far underground. And despite the warnings, men came for these treasures anyway. Prospectors, adventurers, people who heard the stories and decided that the reward was worth the risk. But they did not come back. What lives in the Wonder Hole is called the Grootslang, a creature remembered as part serpent, part elephant. Ancient, enormous, and patient in the only way that something very old and very certain can afford to be. It doesn't need to chase. The cave is narrow, the darkness is total, and the diamonds are exactly where it wants them to be. A trap that has never even needed resetting. The tradition is consistent on one thing above everything else. The Grootslang doesn't kill out of hunger or territory. It kills because the person who wandered in came for what was never theirs. So greed has its own guardian, but so does an entire kingdom. Bida. The Soninke people of Wagadu didn't stumble into prosperity, they negotiated it from Bida itself. Bida was a great python, ancient, enormous, coiled somewhere beneath the land itself. Not a wild creature, not a monster to be slain, something closer to a foundation. The reason that gold came up from the earth, the reason the rains arrived on schedule, the reason Wagadu became a kingdom worth knowing. The terms of this arrangement were simple. Every year, one young woman was offered to Bida, and in return, gold and rain, and continuation of the kingdom. For generations, Wagadu honored the pact. The kingdom grew, the gold flowed, the rains came. Then a man refused. His name changes depending on who tells this story, but what doesn't change is what he did. He killed Bida before the sacrifice could be completed, cut the serpent's head clean from its body, and Bida's severed head flew through the air, cursing Wagadu with its last breath. 7 years, 7 months, 7 days. No gold, no rain, nothing. The kingdom that had been built on the pact didn't survive its breaking. The people scattered, the land emptied. Wagadu fell not because of war or invasion, it fell because one man refused to pay the price that kept the kingdom alive and took matters into his own hands. But some contracts and debts can't be cancelled, only carried on. Buuna. The Amazon River is not the largest body of water in the world, it only looks that way from the surface. The Amazonian traditions that grew along its banks didn't describe Buuna as a creature living in the river, they described something older and more massive than that. A huge black serpent so vast that its body displaced the water around it, carving new channels into the riverbed simply by moving. It only surfaced when it chose to be seen, which was rare. Buuna doesn't hunt along the banks, it doesn't chase canoes or attack fishermen out of hunger or anything like that. What the traditions describe is something more unsettling, a presence that changes form, that rises from the water wearing different shapes, that can appear as a vessel with lights moving upriver in the dark, drawing people toward it before the river closes over them. The water is never just water. Currents shifting without warning, boats going out and never coming back, and some stretches of river to be avoided after dark, even by the people who know the water best. Buuna is not a monster at the bottom of the Amazon. It's the reason in the first place that the Amazon has a bottom that no one has fully mapped. But not all forbidden depths are underground or underwater. Some flow right past you. Boitatá. In 1560, a Jesuit missionary named Antaboga wrote down something that he couldn't explain. He'd seen it near the beaches and rivers of São Vicente, a fast-moving thing, luminous, blazing through the dark. He called it Boitatá, a thing of fire. It didn't have a body that he could describe with confidence. There was only light, speed, and the certainty that it was not natural. He was not the last to see it either. Across the traditions that followed, Boitatá changed. The fiery apparition gained form, a great serpent, its body blazing, its eyes burning with concentrated light. The explanation that settled into Brazilian folklore was specific. Boitatá had survived a great flood by diving deep into the darkness, feeding only on the eyes of drowned animals. It consumed so many eyes that its own body became fire itself. It moves at night, across fields and through forests. Those who threaten the land only see the fire when judgment has already begun. But the earliest record of this beast is just a man on a beach, watching something luminous race through the dark, fast enough that he couldn't track where it even went. Not a serpent just yet, not a guardian, just fire, moving with intention. Some creatures begin as phenomena and take on an entire life and story from there, and some phenomena never even stop. Antaboga. Before the world had its current shape, the Javanese traditions say that something was already beneath it, not buried or imprisoned, just there, holding itself, waiting. Antaboga is a cosmic serpent, vast beyond measurement, coiled in the underworld that exists beneath the layers of existence itself. The traditions that carry this figure are old and layered, moving through Javanese, Sundanese, and Balinese cosmology, accumulating details across centuries of manuscripts and Wayang shadow puppet tradition. The specifics shift depending on who is telling the story and when, but the core of it doesn't shift. Something enormous lives beneath everything, and the world above, the mountains, the rice fields, the kingdoms, the gods themselves, exist in relation to it, whether they acknowledge that or not. Antaboga doesn't act the way other dragons act. It doesn't guard, it doesn't hunt, it doesn't make pacts or curses. It just sustains. Which makes it more dangerous than any guardian, because you can't negotiate with the thing the world is resting on. You can't fight it, you can't map it. It just does what it does. Hindu stories, Buddhist traditions, and older local beliefs all shaped Antaboga differently, but again and again, they placed him beneath the world, holding everything else above him up. Anytime anyone digs deep enough, they're already there. Beneath every world, in most myths, something older than the world itself is holding it up. Aitvaras. Every dragon in this video so far has been enormous. Aitvaras is not. In Lithuanian tradition, the Aitvaras is a household spirit, small enough to live inside a home, to curl near the hearth, and to move through rooms without disturbing anything. In flight, it looks like a fiery streak across the sky, a meteor, a rooster with a burning tail, something you would see from a distance and misread entirely. It arrives when summoned, or purchased, or hatched from an egg that shouldn't have been kept. And then it works. Every morning, the family that it serves awakens to more than they had before. Grain that wasn't there the night before. Milk that no cow produced. Wealth that accumulates without explanation. Steady and reliable year after year. The neighbors can't understand it. They're not meant to. Because Aitvaras doesn't create prosperity, it relocates it. Every grain that it brings to your house is stolen from someone else's. Every measure of milk came from another family's livestock. The wealth is real, the source is just never discussed. The traditions are consistent on a single thing. The Aitvaras is not evil or anything, it's just very loyal. It provides. It simply provides by taking. From somewhere, from someone. And from wherever that is, they never find out why their stores keep emptying. If you enjoyed these myths, check out the next story on screen. It's just as unbelievable and just as cool. See you there!